Morning. Start a couple of player updates. Maguire and Weston, are they going to be back for the trip to Stockport?
I'm going to try them in some light training today, see how they are. The initial thought was no on Friday and Saturday morning, but obviously 24, 48 hours, long time in football. So hopefully they feel better. They're both in with the physio now, and we'll know more in a couple of hours.
Did you pick up any fresh other injuries at the weekend?
Not as it stands, no. Touchwood. No players have reported anything over Sunday, so we should be similar. Hopefully, Loz and Curtis as well going into tomorrow night.
Obviously, another injury, I believe. Nathan Tyson out on loan picked up a nasty injury at Alfreton. What's the situation with him?
Yeah, it's a shame for Nathan. He's such a good lad. He went on loan to Alfreton just to sort of get some game time, and I don't think as loans go, it probably weren't that successful. Plus the fact, he's got a medial injury. Hopefully, it's not too bad. More for him, really. Would he be starting at the moment with strikers we've got? Probably not. That's why he went out on loan. But even so, he doesn't want to be stuck in that medical room every day. He wants to be out there training because he is such a good professional.
And in terms of other strikers, Stephen Payne allowed him to go out to Havant and Waterlooville. I mean, was that the right decision for all concerned, really?
I think so. I think that at this moment in time, it wasn't sort of my place to say, trying to dictate about players' futures, while I'm not the manager as such. I think it's a bit tough for me to make decisions on lads when next week, tomorrow, whatever, there could be changes with the management, and that manager might want that player to hang around. So I think with Stefan, it's more of a case of what does the lad want to do. He wasn't playing. I think sometimes you've got to be fair to the boy, and he was very, very good here in terms of his attitude and worked his socks off every day. So I think it suited him to go and do it, and obviously the club allowed him to go forward with that loan move.
Was there more he could have done to get more game time, or was it kind of a victim of other people being a little bit more successful on the pitch?
Yeah, I think, listen, you've got the most prolific striker in the league. Is he going to play ahead of him? No. I think with the manager, he sometimes played cabs on his own with the two sort of tens, so to speak, behind him. So it was tough for him to get in the team. I thought, to be fair to him, when he did play, when he did get on the pitch, he gave it his all. But sometimes it just doesn't work out in terms of sort of hitting the ground running and hitting the back of the net. And as a forward, people always will judge you on that. But I will certainly, have good memories of Stefan in terms of being around the place every day and how he sort of approached training. When he was left out the team squad, he was professional, and that sort of goes a long way for me.
I understand it was Liam Mandeville's 100th appearance for the club against Dagenham and Redbridge at the weekend. I mean, is he finally starting to show what he's about on a more consistent basis?
I think one thing with Liam is that he's another one who gives his absolute all, every single game. And I think as a coach, as a supporter, that's the minimum, and that's what you have to ask for to start with. I think after that, can he create goals? Yes. Can he score goals? Yes. I think he's contributed massively this season. I think you saw Saturday as well, all of them, but Liam in particular, that the effort and the work rate he gives you out of possession, and in possession you always feel like he's going to produce something. So yeah, there's a lot of players we're lucky we've got quite a few options can play in that position, behind the centre forwards, and at the minute the shirt's his.
Clearly he's a very talented player. Do you still feel he can add more goals to his game? I remember going to Salford earlier this season. He scored an absolute beauty on that day, and he's clearly got more, you feel, within his locker from that perspective.
Yeah, I think he would probably agree with that. He'd like to score more goals. I think if you said that to most players, attacking players, even if they do score every game, would you like to score more? Well, yeah, I'd love to score more goals. So I think he would agree with that. He'd like to add even more goals to his game. In training, he's probably one of the best finishers, especially in the little small-sided games. He's excellent. And I think, with a run of games, will he hit the net a bit more? Hopefully.
How did you feel that the Shimanga Asante partnership did at the weekend? I mean, if they can really start firing, it could be very exciting over the next few months.
Yeah, it could be. I think the biggest thing, what they're both going to bring you with the ball. In and around the box, they're such threats. When even the last 5 minutes, when the fourth official put up the added 4 minutes, sorry. The work rate they kept doing, it's like the game had just started. The fitness levels they showed, the effort to go and press and close down and to try and stop their hardest, those long balls coming in the box, which would which would put our back three under unnecessary pressure. They did that, and I think as a supporter you want to see that. You don't want to see the centre forwards just dropping off or walking or allowing the centre halves to keep bringing the ball. So yeah, as a front two, the combinations were excellent, but out of possession, I was really pleased with them on Saturday.
About Kwasi in particular, was that his best game, do you feel, since he's come back from injury? I've seen some various rave reports from several people.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a shame he didn't get a goal. I mean, I tried encouraging him to shoot from distance a lot more, and I think you saw first, I think he dragged a couple wide, so he's trying to take that on board. Yeah, I think right near the end he dribbled in the corner, they couldn't get the ball off him for love nor money, so he's got absolute quality. It was always going to take time, and he's still not there. He's out for a long time, and credit to him, he's come back, and it's going to be a long process to get him back to his very, very best, but hopefully he's nearly there.
You'd have thought if you do manage to get a win at Stockport, it'll put you in a very good position to get this gig on a permanent basis.
Well, I think if you'd said to me as a coach, as an assistant, as an interim manager, you easily win, Dagenham win, you'd be ever so pleased with that return. So to go to Stockport now, we're in a better position than we were 2 games ago because we've got 6 more points under our belt. So in terms of my position, I can just reiterate that from day to day, I'm giving my best to try and get these lads more points on the board and give these supporters something to sing about.
Have you held any talks with the club about taking over on a permanent basis yet? No,
it's just been a talk really. John Crute spoke to me again today, so they'll take the game tomorrow, and going forward, it's day by day, like I keep saying, which I fully understand and I'm on board with. There's no pressure from myself to know what's going on. Obviously there's a bit of clarity now with the manager leaving, and that's one thing now the players know won't be happening going forward. So it takes time to tick things off the list of what's next, so it doesn't all happen overnight. And I suppose as a club, it's going quite well at the moment on the pitch. We just got to make sure that we don't let tomorrow night be the night where we start to sort of lower our standards.
You had a little taste clearly in the last couple of games. You had a bit of a taste at Orient a few years ago. I mean, how much would you like the gig? Is it something that you've kind of wanted another crack at a top job for a while?
I mean, I was brought up here by James Rowe to be his coach, which I loved every minute of it, and I'm loving every minute of it, by the way. I love this club. The situation at Leyton Orient all those years ago was completely different. The club was in disarray. We had, I decided to play a load of the youth team basically just to try and give the fans some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. That's not the case here. It's much more set up to go for it. Promotion this year is the target, and whether it's me ticking it over from day to day or another manager coming in, that continues to be the target. But in terms of me, my biggest thing, especially the last year or so, is I want to enjoy my life. I want to enjoy coming into work. I want to enjoy the people I work for and with, and that here, it couldn't be more. It couldn't be more the case at this football club, and I'm very grateful for everyone who's involved with it.
Well, if you were offered it, would you take it?
At the moment, that's a conversation. That's a very good question. You're smiling as you're asking it, but at the moment, all I'm focusing about is tomorrow night.
Okay. In terms of tomorrow night, then, I mean, as tests go, this is about as tough a game as you could have, isn't it? I mean, 10 wins in a row. They've not conceded in 6. What are your thoughts ahead of the game, and how are you going to approach it?
Well, I think they'll be aware of our record. They'll look at our goals for, our goals against, the amount of games we've lost, and ultimately where we are in the table. And they'll know if we beat them tomorrow, we go top, and even if we don't, and we draw, we've got a game in hand, we win that, we go top. So they'll be wary of us, and we'll be wary of them. I think, you think 10, 15 years ago, this was a big League 1 game, or League 2 game at worst, and there would have been 8,000-9,000 in there, which I'm pretty sure there'll be that tomorrow. I've just asked one of the directors, and they think we'll be taking nearly 2,000 supporters there on a Tuesday night. It's what you're in it for, isn't it? It's what you're in it for. And like I said on Friday, we pressed this sort of pressure, top v second, believe me, is a much easier pressure than 24th versus 23rd, looking to go down to the Conference North, which Stockport have done, and this club nearly did, sadly, and got away with it. So it's a pressure, but it's a pressure that I think both teams are going to look forward to.
I mean, clearly we've seen this season with the position that Chesterfield have been in and leading the way a lot of the time that there is some real pedigree there for that promotion race. But how much extra are you going to learn about the players and their credentials to kind of get over the line in terms of a game like this?
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of those qualities at Eastleigh, when the performance was all right, scrappy, in terms of a technical, tactical, masterclass. But in terms of the grit, determination and the togetherness they showed to get something out of the game, I learnt a lot then. I've learnt a lot all season. I learned a lot in training, their attitude, they're a good bunch of lads. I asked for a certain type of performance against Dagenham. They produced it, plus the same sort of stuff they showed at Eastleigh, that togetherness, but it was just a bit more polished, a bit more attractive. And ultimately we played two games since the changes and got 6 points, and that's down to those players. So if we can go to Stockport tomorrow night and give a good account of ourselves, I'm sure we won't let those supporters down again.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's the kind of game that Chesterfield fans have been starved of for far too long.
Yeah, it is exciting, and I think what's nice is we're going there with a chance of winning the game. Not, we're going there hoping, just fingers crossed we get something. There's a game plan, and we wouldn't take that many supporters if it was that sort of game. It's a top v second. It's a big game, big crowd, some big players on show on both teams, and I'm sure it'll be a good occasion. Just finally,
clearly Chesterfield had an excellent FA Cup run that we all enjoyed, and all the way to Stamford Bridge. A little word on Boreham Wood from last night. I mean, a wonderful display. They still haven't conceded in the competition, and you kind of feel that they did the National League proud last night.
Very much so. I think he's done a very good job there, Luke. I know him well. One of my best mates, the goalie coach there, Martin Brennan, and I spoke to him after the game and wished congratulated them both. And I think you'd see from Luke's celebrations after, he was getting a bit emotional. And they're not a massive club supporter base, but they took a lot down there, and it means a lot to people. It means a lot. Those games, they do come once in a blue moon. Now, we went to Chelsea, didn't cause an upset, but even for me to see what it meant to those supporters when we scored that goal, we were never going to come back and get anything from it after that. But it was still like we'd won the FA Cup. So whether it's us or Boreham Wood, those games are fantastic, and I'm so glad it still means something, the FA Cup, because for me it's still the greatest competition around.
Good luck tomorrow, Danny. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, Danny.
Morning, Liam. You alright?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Just on Nathan Tyson, is he back at the club then now, or is he still at Alfreton?
He's mixing it up, so he's getting his main treatment here, but I think he's just, because doesn't live too far from there, you see, so he's touching base with their guy as well at Alfreton, because I think they've been quite good to him and straight with him during the loan. So I think he's just being respectful and popping in there and giving updates, not just going missing and saying, well, I'm injured, so I'm back at Chesterfield. So it's a shame that he's got that. It's probably a shame for Alfreton, because they probably didn't bank on that happening, but that's football and that's what happens sometimes.
Do we know how long he's going to be out for yet?
Not at the moment. I wouldn't want to put a time scale on it. He's had the brace on just for a bit of security around the knee the last few days, and I haven't seen him yet this morning. But if that's off, hopefully that shows it's going in the right direction.
No Tom Denton in the squad at the weekend. Was that tactical, or has he had a little injury there?
No, I just felt on Saturday I wanted just a couple more midfielders on there. Manny probably wasn't right to start, and even if he was, I think the McCourt-Khan combination worked quite well. And I did speak to Tom before. I just feel with him and Quiggs as his big target man, you're probably not going to bring them both on, unless you're really, really, really chasing it towards the end. Would I have brought off the top scorer in the league at any point? Probably not, even if he was having a bad day at the office. So I just thought it was fair to Tom. He probably would have been on the bench and not come on in an ideal world, because if you are bringing him on, you're going for it and you're behind. So yeah, it worked in terms of the sort of the midfielders who come on and shored the game up, helped us get over the line and get those 3 points.
No Joe Rowley either. How's he doing in his sort of building himself up in training, and is he close to sort of getting in the squad at the minute?
He's very close. There's another one I chatted before the game. I wanted him to realise, like the same thing I said about Stefan earlier, where it's not my place at the moment to say should he go on loan, should he stay, or it's up to the lad and the club to decide what they want to do going forward in the very, very short term. But I think he merited a conversation before the game, because in training he's been fantastic. He's a quiet lad, he gets on with it, doesn't cause any issues with anyone. And I just wanted him to know that he wasn't being taken for granted by sort of, you're a nice lad, you're young, so you're the easy option to leave out the squad. Far from it, he's been excellent and really pushing close. And you could see why a few years ago he was thought so highly of here. He still is, but there was lots of talk about him moving on and that, because he's got so much talent and he does deserve a run of games, and I suppose time will tell where that is.
He's played in various different positions. Where would you say his best position is, in your opinion?
Good question, really. I mean, I saw it pre-season, I suppose, where I saw him most this season, and the manager used him at times a bit of a wing back, or as someone who played just behind the front two. I suppose you'd probably say in an old-fashioned 4-4-2, he'd be a really good winger either side, cut it in maybe on the left or just going for it on the right. In this setup at the minute, I think his best position would be, where Liam Mandeville played Saturday, in behind the front two, if you'd ask me now. But it depends. I think at Kings Lynn he was used in that position and sometimes wide. But if you can play in more than one position, you're always likely to get in the team.
So Stockport tomorrow then. It's being billed as the biggest game of the season. Do you see it that way as well?
I think it is, because it's top v second. I think if it was Stockport versus Boreham Wood or Stockport versus Halifax, it'd be if they were second. You know what I mean? If it was top v second, whatever it is, it just makes it bigger that we are two ex-league clubs, big ex-league clubs. I don't want to guess what the crowd will be, but I should imagine it'll be close to 5 figures. I would imagine the overall crowd. I might be wrong with that, but we're taking a lot, like we always do. There'll be, especially that big stand behind the goal there. They'll be trying to suck that ball in the goal like we do here. So, yeah, it is for me. It's the biggest game of the season. I think if it was top versus 15th, probably not. But top v second with the big crowd probably makes it the biggest game so far this season.
What do you make of the job that Dave Challoner's done there? Because he seems to have gone in and really transformed them. I think he's taken them from 10th to top in 3 months. Yeah,
he's done it before. He'd done well at Fylde, got them through the leagues. Just before he left, it didn't quite work out and they were down the bottom. But Hartlepool, he turned it around, got them up through the playoffs. And Stockport, he's gone in a team that were massively underachieving and got on top of the league. So he's doing something right. He knows what he's doing. Got some good players, but so have we. So I think it'd be a really good test for our players to go up against another very good set of players and see where we are.
And they've won 10 in a row. How do you stop them getting the 11th?
Good question. I think, like I always say, if we turn up and are on it and do what we can do and run like we can run and pass like we can pass and defend like we can defend, we've got a chance. If they turn up and don't play well, we've got a chance of beating them. If we turn up not at the races, they've got a good chance of beating us. So it's so many factors that go into winning games. You can set teams up, do loads of tactical work, but if people don't turn up when they cross over that white line, you've got no chance. And the last few games, our lads have certainly turned up.